Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another World Cup check-in. You may be asking yourself, wait, it's time for another World Cup? I thought they were every 4 years. But you see, there are two World Cups. One is for the women. So in every 4 years, on the odd years, I guess, kind of, in 2019 and so on and so forth, the women get to show their talent well, they get to play the beautiful game just like everybody else, and as it should be. So, yes, 2019, this summer. In fact, I believe it's in 8 days, starting on Friday, the 7th of June. France kicks off the World Cup against South Korea. The World Cup is in France this year for the women, and you'll see another world spectacle that we all get to enjoy, and I'll be here along the way guiding you through it, and talking about the matches. And in this case, it's a little bit better because the United States actually has a team this time in the World Cup. So in some aspects, I'll probably be focusing more on the United States side of it, rather than the other teams. And also, it's just going to be a lot more nerve-wracking when it comes to certain games, especially as we go along. So, just like last year, what I'm going to do first is I'm going to walk you through who's in the tournament, and sort of some of the stories surrounding that, and then I'm going to make my predictions as far as who's going to win. If you know me, or if you know where I'm from, there's really only going to be one winner, but I'm going to make predictions anyway to see where we get to along the way, and maybe talk about some of the places that the United States might slip up. So anyway, I'll get into that, and then stay tuned at the end, because hopefully I can try and convince you to tune in to this World Cup. All right, so let's take a look at the teams and the whole format that we're dealing with here. So, this Women's World Cup will be the 8th edition of the Women's World Cup, the first being, of course, in 1991. There will be 24 teams in total in 6 groups of 4. I believe the men had 32 in their brackets. That being said, let's just give you the rundown of who we got in where. If you want to pause the video here, you can check out each of the teams involved and the rankings here next to it. For those of you, the fun thing about the Women's World Cup is that it's much different to the men's landscape, in that the United States has only ever been ranked 1 or 2 in the world. And other teams such as Canada or Australia are much higher ranked than they are in the men's game. Teams like England, however, are, luckily for them, they're ranked 3rd in the world in the women's game, and they're certainly high up in the men's game as well. So you can see all of those ranks. This World Cup will feature Chile, Jamaica, Scotland, and South Africa as the World Cup debuts, or debutantes. So that's nice to see some new faces there. Brazil, Germany, Japan, Nigeria, Norway, Sweden, and the United States will all be the usual suspects in that they've qualified for the all World Cups so far. So yeah, let's take a look at this bracket. So there's 24 teams in this format. The top 2 teams automatically go through, and then it's the best third place, or the 4 best third place teams will advance. So let us begin with Group A. The Women's World Cup will kick off next Friday, the 7th of June at 2 o'clock, versus between France and South Korea. France are the host nation. They are also 4th ranked in the world, playing against 14th ranked South Korea. Norway is also in there at 12 in the world, and Nigeria is 38th in the world. I expect France to take this and win this group, being at home and all of that.
When it comes to who's in second, now that's going to be an interesting dilemma. So, when it comes to Norway, they are or would be much better ranked than they were or are at 12 if they had the best player in the world, and that is Ada Hegerberg, however you want to pronounce it, this young woman here. She recently just won the Ballon d'Or for the women, so she's considered the best player in the women's game. However, she has refused to play for Norway until the Norwegian women's team pays women equally. She scored a ridiculous amount of goals in her club career. She just won the Champions League with Olympique Lyon and all of that, so she's a phenomenal player, but she's not going to be here in the World Cup. Because of that, I think South Korea will edge out Norway because they are going to miss her. And then, of course, Nigeria bringing up the rear. Nothing against them, but I just think the other two teams are too good. So it'll be interesting to see what Norway does because of that narrative with Ada, and certainly that's going to be a theme throughout this World Cup. Certainly when it comes to the United States women, when we're talking about this World Cup, is the off-the-field stuff that goes along with the on-field results. So, moving on to Group B, we've got Germany, China, Spain, and one of those debutantes, South Africa. So Germany are ranked second. I don't expect them to slip up in any capacity. However, I think China, even though they're 16th, and Spain are somewhere on here, they're ranked 13th. I think China are going to edge them. I just think they have the experience of being in these World Cups. They have the history with them, and I think Spain have yet to truly realize their potential. Don't worry, I think we'll see them still passing through. South Africa, I think, are just happy to be there. Again, they're 49th in the world, and I just think that they will not be able to overcome that deficit. When it comes to Group C, we've got Australia, Italy, Brazil, and Jamaica. Jamaica, one of those new teams as well. Jamaica, I'm just going to automatically put in that fourth position. They just sort of barely made it through to the World Cup. They barely qualified for it, meaning they did well enough to get here, but they just snuck in. I think with some lucky results and some good hard work. Nevertheless, the Reggae Girls, I think, are going to just fade out, especially when they're facing talent like Australia. Australia, ranked 6th in the world, I think are going to pull ahead. And then I think what we're going to see is we're going to see Italy in that second spot. Italy's women's game, certainly in their domestic league, has picked up dramatically. They've had stadiums full, 50,000 plus people going to see league games, which is a damning indictment to the United States League, but I digress. And Brazil, as much as they have been good with players like Marta and in the past, I think they're aging out. I think I agree with some pundits in saying that they're a little bit past their prime, and I think that they will succumb to that in this tournament. On to Group D, we get a fun little England-Scotland matchup. I think England, however, being ranked third, the way they're playing, I think they're just too good for anybody else in this group. Certainly, I don't think Scotland have the skill. Scotland, this is their first time through. However, I think Scotland, Japan being ranked 7th, I think will edge them out here. Argentina, again, just sort of happy to be here. Japan, I think they're ranked 7th in the world. Scotland ranked 20th. I think it's not going to vary much. Japan, of course, was the World Cup winner in 2011. They were the runner-ups in 2015. They've been on a little bit of a rebuild, bringing in some young players, but I still think that they'll get through with their talent. Scotland, I think, we'll see as one of those best 4 teams, perhaps, coming through. In Group E, we've got Canada, Cameroon, New Zealand, and the Netherlands. So Canada, ranked 5th. I got to give it to the best-ranked team there. I don't see anybody else really challenging them. Netherlands at 8 might do so. I'm going to put them through there. New Zealand will come in 3rd, and then Cameroon again coming in 4th. I just don't think, a 46th ranked team dealing with the worst ranked of 19th is not going to really work out for them. Canada, interestingly enough, have a player named Christine Sinclair who's going to be interesting to watch because she is currently the second leading goal scorer, second most goal scorer in the world or for the international games. So for her country, for any country, she has the second most goals. That's women's and men's. The leader, of course, is Abby Wambach, who's got 184 goals for the United States. She's, of course, retired. Christine Sinclair, however, is 35 and certainly could go on for several more years, but I think she will be scoring the 3 goals that she needs to tie Abby Wambach and eventually pass her. I think she'll do it in this tournament. So it'll be cool to see her. It's well done. She's a clinical finisher. What she does is score goals. So I think that'll be a narrative to watch, look out for in this World Cup, and all of that. All right, Group F. Now we get to where we get to talk about the United States. The United States, I think, will ultimately prove the better. The game that will prove whether or not they are the true leaders of this group will be against Sweden. Sweden are a team that has historically given the United States some troubles. I believe in, let's see if we can scroll up here to 2016. It was, let's see. Yeah, right here. In the Olympics, it was Sweden who got past us on penalties. This is when we lost Hope Solo as a goalkeeper. They just have historically frustrated us as a team. So I think it'll be interesting because it's the 3rd game and all of that for the U.S. to play. We'll see if it just ends up as a draw or if the United States can edge them out. Whether or not they're going to rest players or something like that, that's for another time. Thailand and Chile. Thailand ranked 34th, Chile ranked 39th. I don't expect them to put up much of a fight, really. That's why I say the U.S. is easily going to get through this game, and why I don't think it's going to be that compelling to go to any watch parties just as yet watching these group games, maybe for Sweden, but like I said, it's not going to be a critical game. I'm going to put... let's put Chile as 3rd and Thailand as 4th, just because it's Chile's first time coming out. They might feel positive about it. So those are my predictions for this for the group stage. Of course, I've got to pick the best 3rd place teams. I think we're going to see Scotland. We'll see. Let's go New Zealand, Spain, and Norway. I think those will be the best 3rd place finishers. Again, Brazil aging out, and Chile I think will just be too bad to get there and all that. These are determined, I believe, by first point. So if somebody gets a shock win or something like that, that will take into account. Or if Scotland, say, get 3 points and they don't, 3 or 4 points, and then they get through on goal difference. So we'll see there. So, then we get to come up here. So, we've got Korea versus Italy in the round of 16. I'm going to edge Italy here. I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt with their whole domestic league taking off. I think that's phenomenal. I think they should be rewarded with that, with the quarterfinal appearance. We've got England versus New Zealand here, so a nice little Commonwealth party or fight here. I think England are going to easily edge them. New Zealand will give them a bit of a fight, but I think they will want to take it home, as it were. France versus Scotland. Scotland, just happy to be there. France on their home turf and are ranked 4th in the world are going to, I think, do well against this Scotland team. The U.S. versus China. The U.S. beat China in a penalty shootout in 1999. I think they're going to much more easily take care of the Chinese this time around. China's still around at 16th, but I just think I think the U.S. France matchup here is going to happen. It's got to. I'll talk a little bit more about this in just a sec. Over on the right side, we've got Australia versus Spain. Spain, again, yet to realize their talent. They just squeaked in, and I think Australia are just going to be too hard for them to deal with as a nation. Over here, we've got Canada versus Japan. This is a really good matchup, ranked 5th versus 7th in the world. Again, that narrative of Christine Sinclair. I think she wants to either go out just like Abby Wambach with the most goals in the world and a World Cup win. I think she's going to power them through. Japan, I think, are just too young. They were runners-up in 2015. I just think that they're kind of in a rebuilding session. They're still a good team, but I think that they're still working on some things. It'll be interesting the next time around to see how they've progressed. Canada, though, I think will edge them out. Moving on to Germany versus Norway. I think Germany pushes through. Again, no Ada with Norway is really just... I just can't give them much hope there without the best player in the world to play with them. It's just going to be the Germans. Again, they're second ranked in the world. I don't personally know anybody who stands out. They're just a solid team, and they always have been. They are one of the 4 teams to win World Cups. They've got 2, I believe, in total. So they'll be a good team to watch out for. I think we'll go with the Netherlands here versus Sweden. Sweden are 9th. Netherlands are 8th. I'm going to give it to the edge, but this is going to be a really good game if we can watch it. It'll probably be a really scrappy contest, but it will be fairly cool to watch this one. Netherlands, I think, are the reigning European champions. I think they won that most recent tournament, so certainly they're going to have some good tournament experience there to prove how good they are, and I think their fans will travel well, so it'll be a nice atmosphere there. Over onto the quarterfinals now. So Italy versus England. I think England, again, they're going to power through. They're really good right now, and I think that with their coach, as much as I don't know how much he wanted the job in the first place, he's got them playing a solid way, and when it comes to them playing the United States, which is sort of the litmus test for how well you are or how good you are, they tied again the United States in April or March, January, February, March. That's how dates work. So in March they drew them. So they're a team to look out for, and so I think they will get to the semifinals. I'm going to skip this one because I'm going to have to talk about this in more depth. We've got Australia versus Canada, 5th versus 6th, a battle of the Commonwealth again. This is going to be a tough one. We've got Sam Kerr, who is a star in the NWSL, versus that Christine Sinclair. Both are ruthless finishers. This is going to be a goal fest. if there ever was going to be one. I think that they're going to score a lot of goals in this one, and it'll be an entertaining match to watch for sure. I think, again, Christine Sinclair, she's just going to score that one extra goal that'll put them past Australia. Excuse me. That'll put them past Australia to give them the edge. Now, for Germany-Netherlands, admittedly, I don't know specific players on either of these teams. They're just solid teams in general. I think the Netherlands were able to beat Germany in those European Championships a year or so ago. I'm going to give them the edge. I'm not confident in this one. Again, it's hard to bet against the second best team in the world. I just think that I don't know, 8 over 2 seed. I gotta channel my inner March Madness there and put it there. So that leaves us with this match right here: the United States versus France in the quarterfinals. Like I said, this is taking place in France. This will be in Paris, this match for the quarterfinals. It's going to be, if ever there was a marquee matchup that you wanted to happen in like the semifinals or the finals, it's this one. Instead, we get it in the round of 8, the quarterfinals. This is the biggest match the U.S. will probably face initially, but if they get through, they'll have to play England, and England are hard as well. And I say this is hard because I think France, if I scroll up here, France are the most recent team to beat the United States. They did so in January, and they did so quite handily with a 3-1 win over the United States. Let's look at this one. So it was 3-0 until very late. So you can definitely tell that this France team is no joke. I don't know why they're ranked where they are. Yes, you see here that the U.S. beat them in the Olympics when it counted, but certainly in 2018 we drew with France, and then of course we lost to them. So this French team is going to be really, really hard to beat, and that's why this is one of those. This is one of the matches that I will probably definitely be attending or trying not attending in France because I'm poor, but definitely going to a watch party or something to see, because it's going to be extremely compelling TV. So, however, I'm going to put the U.S. through. I think we've got the willpower, the skill, and the determination to go through. I think Carly Lloyd might prove some of the doubters wrong. Carly Lloyd, of course, the hero of 2015, scoring a hat trick against Japan. I think she won't score a hat trick against them, but she will prove that she is still a phenomenal player, even at her age. I think she's 36, going to be 37 in the tournament. Age is just a number. She will still be able to put a ball into the back of the net when it counts, when it matters, and we're going to pass through. I'm, of course, completely fearful of this match. I don't like it in the slightest, but nevertheless, it's going to happen, and it's going to be glorious. So, from France, the United States gets to play and challenge England. Like I said, England drew against the United States as recently as March. They are playing pretty well. It's a slog. If the United States wins this World Cup, it will be well deserved, and I think that will lead the United States through. I think they will have so much confidence going through, getting through France, that they will have to get through England. I neglected to mention the reason why that everybody's so concerned about this game, why this is such a big thing, is because the United States are they can score goals, and I'll show you what I mean by that. We'll take a look at this game right here with the United States versus Australia. Australia are ranked 6th in the world. Australia put 3 goals past the United States in April, last month. So that would be a problem. However, the United States has the most talented goal scorers I think, in the world. They've got players like Alex Morgan, Tobin Heath, Megan Rapinoe, Mallory Pugh, Carly Lloyd, Kristen Press, and Rose Lavelle. All of these players, they're phenomenal attacking talents. We can score goals. I have no doubt the United States will score loads of goals, much more than 10. However, it's the defense of the United States that's the problem. Now, there's that cliche, defense wins championships. In this case, it's going to be a true test of that cliche. Can the United States, will they sort of die by that cliche, or will they be able to say, look, offense wins championships much more than defense? I'm hoping it's that rather than the whole defense thing. So that's why we're worried about this match, and certainly about this match. Can the United States defense, in particular the goalkeeper, hold up the United States and keep the ball out of the back of the net? Alyssa Nair is the number one starting goalkeeper for the United States. It used to be Hope Solo. Hope Solo, unfortunately, she left the team due to just a lot of bad press, and she's got a lot of sort of just personal issues and beef with U.S. soccer. If she were still with the team, she would still be the best goalkeeper in the world. However, kind of like Norway, we're going in with one of our better players not on the team. Nair has done fine. It's just the question is whether or not she can make that phenomenal save, that one save that will elevate her status to push the United States over the edge. So this is, of course, my extremely biased prediction that the United States will go on through and win, but I'm very much worried about these two matches going forward. On the right-hand side here, I think it's going to be Canada going through with Christine Sinclair, and then I think she'll score maybe one or two versus the United States, but of course the U.S. Are going to win that. England are going to run up in third place. They're third ranked in the world. I think they'll be third ranked at this World Cup as well, and prove that, they'll do the same thing almost that England did in the Men's World Cup. So this is my prediction, and again, the first game is next Friday on the 7th. If you're a U.S. fan and biased like me, the U.S. doesn't play until Tuesday. That's at 2 o'clock Central Time, so if you're in Eastern Time, it's good for you because that's at 3 p.m. However, all of these games will be at decent times, which because it's in France, so it's only 6 hours ahead, so it's not going to be too late. If anything, some of these are going to be too early, but Australia versus Italy, maybe you might want to sleep in. Brazil versus Jamaica, sleep in a little bit more, things like that. So I'm going to continue to bring you guys this series, of course, and stick around here for a message from me, why I think you should watch this World Cup, more so than just the competitive side of it and all of that. So just stick around and, listen to that. All right, so I hopefully you got some insight into this year's World Cup. I'm not an expert by any means. I'm just an enthusiastic fan who knows a little bit about things. I certainly don't know as much about the women's teams of these various countries. I don't see their players play on a week-to-week basis as much as I do with the men's side. So certainly, like teams like the Netherlands or Germany, I'm of course, I honestly just don't have any grasp of the quality of their players and all that, which is kind of one of the problems with the women's game right now, is that it's just not as popular. However, it is growing in popularity, which is why I'm going to take this time to try and convince you to watch the women's version of the World Cup. It's the same game, simply put. And last year, the World Cup was phenomenal. It was absolutely entertaining from end to end, from start to finish.
with upsets and everything, and anything can really happen in a World Cup. And as I mentioned with Italy, the game in other countries on the women's side is certainly growing as time progresses. The leagues in Spain and in Italy have seen massive games. They've had stadiums that are typically filled with fans for the men's game, like teams like Juventus or Barcelona, all of that, who have, when it comes to the women's team playing, the ladies' Juventus team, the same exact crowd comes out. You've got 50,000 people coming out. Now, contrast that to the United States. NWSL games getting like just a few thousand people there. There's only like 10 teams as it is, and that's partly because soccer isn't as popular in this country as it should be. But it's just part of, I guess, the inherent sexism and the whole thing. And so, there's a lot of problems in the world and problems with that. At sometimes I would say the United States has not made me, I guess, proud to be an American for various reasons that are political. But, this team, this women's team, is one of the things that I take pride in, that I can enjoy without any sort of, disdain or any hard feelings, because I believe in the message that they're trying to convey, and I believe in them as people, and certainly as what they're trying to do, which is grow soccer in this country, and specifically women's soccer, because, for me, it's the more the merrier. So if they can keep winning and inspire people to go to NWSL games and all of that, then that's all the better. But on top of that, I want the United States women to do well this World Cup and win it, because they are currently in a lawsuit to fight for equal and better pay for them. The men still get paid more than that. They still get more of the marketing. And U.S. Soccer has sort of done a little bit better with promoting this World Cup. But, of course, they can always do better. And certainly this country can always do better when it comes to that. So hopefully, them winning and your support of the women's team will get them to that. Also, women's rights. Many of the players are very vocal advocates for women's rights, certainly in recent times in this country. It's something that I take pride in supporting, and I want the team to do well, because, there's really, women in this country have always been the best of us. I think that's been true throughout history and throughout time, and certainly in recent times when you've got certain politicians and all that taking the lead. They've always been the best of us, and that's why this women's team is just such a great team to follow, because they truly are the better of the men's team, and they're going to continue to be for the foreseeable future. And above all, I think if you are a fan of soccer, if you're not a fan of soccer at all, or whatever it is, they provide great role models for everybody, for people like me, for kids, boys, girls, doesn't matter. They're phenomenal role models. They're phenomenal people. They're fun to follow, and it's just, I can't wait for this to start. I can't wait for the anxiety. Maybe I can, but as a soccer fan, I know that this is one of the hazards of being a fan, is that you just get those games that are, gonna snatch at you, gonna, make you feel depressed and exuberant in the space of 90 minutes, and I'm definitely looking forward to feeling those feelings. So, for all those reasons, for if you're not a fan, I would say give the World Cup a shot. It's the women, it's the United States women, and they've always been the best, and they're going to continue to fight for that title. to be the best in the world. And so hopefully you can enjoy them playing it more so than the men, especially if you like winning more than you like losing or whatever it is. So I implore you to go to watch parties. Certainly, I know there's one for the second game in the group stage for the U.S. women where they play Chile, I think. So that's on Sunday, June 16th. That one's down in Wrigleyville in Chicago. I'm certain there's others watch parties around the country. I personally won't be going to that one simply because I know that the United States has a pretty good chance of winning that game. And like I said, I'm a sucker for punishment, so you'll probably see me going out, and I'll probably bring my phone, maybe record a little bit of the festivities when it comes to games like USA versus in the first round, or USA possibly versus France in the quarterfinals. That one, I'm certainly going to be wherever it is. I'm going to be there. And hopefully happy at the end of it rather than depressed. But take your friends, take your kids. If you don't like the game, I promise by the end of this tournament you will love soccer because that's just what happens. So thanks for watching. Thanks for sticking around if you've gotten to this far. And I will check in with you after probably that first weekend, somewhere around there. Certainly there are games that are going to be happening, rolling out that first game on Friday, a couple ones on Saturday, Sunday, Monday. I think there's 3 games a day. So I might watch a few of those. It just depends on my schedule and other things. And hopefully I'll be able to point out which games are going to be more interesting to watch. So, and again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.